They took you for granted because you were always present. Every message received an answer, every call was returned, every invitation accepted, every breakdown met with comfort. You offered your time, your energy, your presence, and in return, silence, disregard, disrespect, vanishing acts. You believed constant availability equaled love. It didn't. It made you forgettable. In a world where abundance is ignored and rarity is admired, you became invisible. As Niccolò Machiavelli once observed, men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few possess true insight. When you offer emotional, physical, and mental access without restraint, you become predictable, and predictability never creates obsession. You've been taught by film's family and the emotionally wounded that loyalty means presence. But the truth is people don't run after what they own. They chase what they fear they'll lose. And right now, they feel no urgency. Because they're certain you'll be there ready to answer, ready to forgive, ready to stay. That certainty kills attraction. To simplify it, they're not distancing themselves because they've found someone superior. They're doing so because you no longer feel exclusive. No one fixates on what's easily accessible, not due to its lack of worth, but because it's too attainable. Scarcity isn't manipulation, it's restoring weight to your presence. As Machiavelli advised, the wise man acts at once what the fool does eventually. Stop postponing your exit. Begin making your attention a privilege, not a guarantee. Think about it, diamonds are stones, yet people sacrifice for them. Why, wow? Because they're rare. Because they can't be found just anywhere. Now imagine someone gives you a bucket of diamonds daily. Would you still cherish them? Would you guard them? Would you even notice if one disappeared? That's you. You are the diamond, but you've been acting like common gravel. Let's be honest. You stood by them in their lowest moments. You were their anchor when no one else stayed. You excused their flaws. You endured their storms. And now they vanish, they delay, they test your boundaries. Because they think you'll never walk away. Because your unwavering presence told them, no matter what happens, I'll still be here. That's not love. That's captivity. And the prison bars forged by your own reliability. Now here's what happens when you pull away. At first they feel relief. They assume you're upset waiting to cool off. They throw small signals, a random text, a memory-laced story, a like on your update expecting you to bite. But you don't. You stay silent. You stay absent. You no longer circle around them. And that's when reality hits. They've lost their hold. Because now, for the first time, you've brought in uncertainty. And that uncertainty is the seed of obsession. Suddenly, they're filled with questions. Where did you go? Who are you with? Have you moved on? Did someone replace them? They replay every word, every moment, trying to understand how they lost control. They observe, they spiral. Because humans don't chase what they comprehend, they pursue what puzzles them. They don't obsess over the certain. They become fixated on what feels like it's slipping from their grasp. And this is where most people get it wrong. They try to pull back, but they still leak emotional signals. They won't message, but they keep watching stories. They don't call yet, they'll like an old post. They go quiet, but remain digitally present. That's not real distance, it's performance. Scarcity isn't about faking detachment. It's about genuinely removing yourself mentally, emotionally, energetically, not out of revenge, but to restore equilibrium. Let's break down the formula of obsession. It's not rooted in charm or appearance or intellect. Its simple high personal value combined with restricted access creates obsession. If you're always initiating, always justifying yourself, always checking in, you become emotionally unlimited. And anything without limits loses allure. There was a man, let's call him Leo. Everyone saw him as reliable, caring, always there. He remembered birthdays, responded promptly, stayed loyal even through mistreatment. Yet none of the people he invested in stuck around. Because Leo never introduced scarcity. He never stepped back. He never created any emotional distance. He was ever present, and in time, people treated him like background noise, useful, comfortable, unremarkable. Then Leo shifted, not through conflict or confrontation, but through silence. He didn't vanish with a loud exit. He simply stopped showing up. That's when they all started reaching out, not because they missed him, but because they missed the control they used to have when he was constantly available. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, love and fear." Leo had been loved passively, carelessly, but now they feared losing access to what they assumed was permanent. That fear sparked obsession. Understand this. People don't treasure what's good, they pursue what's rare. You can be Westya's kind of emotionally generous, but if you're always easy to reach, they'll view you like a discounted item on an overstocked shelf. Why? Because constant availability kills tension, and tension is what sticks in the mind. Think back to when someone you wanted became unreachable. That silence, that absence, it pulled you in deeper. Now reverse it. You've been too accessible, too immediate. And what has it earned you? Exhaustion, disrespect, emotional devaluation. Your time became worthless because it was handed out too freely. Here's what Machiavelli might have advised. Be seen infrequently, and you'll become highly desired. Be seen too often, and you'll be overlooked without a second thought. Many confuse real scarcity with petty drama. But true scarcity is subtle. It doesn't scream or plead. It's composed. It's distance. It's quiet confidence. You don't walk away to manipulate. You walk away to recalibrate. You don't detach to hurt anyone. You detach to recognize your worth again. So what unfolds when you finally apply this? First comes confusion, followed by denial, and then comes pursuit. They start checking your social media, reaching out to mutual friends, sending casual, "Hey stranger," texts. They're not contacting you out of affection, they're doing it because you're unreadable now. And Machiavelli understood this deeply. It is much safer to be feared than loved when one of the two must be lacking. In this context, fear means fear of losing consistent access to someone they once fully understood. Now that you're a mystery, now that you no longer revolve around them, now that you don't respond as expected, they start to panic. It hits them you no longer need them. But here's the catch. They won't return offering deep commitment. They return lightly, casually, carefully, without real intent. They're probing for vulnerability. They're watching for signs. One slip from you, a quick, like an immediate reply, a subtle hint that you're still emotionally attached, and the illusion collapses. They now know they still hold space in your emotions. This is why scarcity must be authentic. Not an act, not dramatized, calculated. It's not about hardening your heart. It's about closing access to those who knock for attention, not out of admiration. Let's be honest. Some will walk away. You'll lose those who came for ease, for softness, for emotional dependence. You'll lose those who liked you most when you were overgiving. But what you reclaim is priceless space focus and your edge. In time, you'll regain respect because people only truly admire what they can't command. No cruelty is needed. No harsh words. You don't need to lash out. You simply stop being their emotional safety net. Machiavelli might have framed this as ruling through distance and presence, not because they fear you, but because they fear the emptiness left behind by your detachment. And when they realize you're no longer instantly accessible, they either chase with intent or disappear entirely. Either result is a win, because now your peace is no longer currency in someone else's emotional economy. You've become rare, aloof, unreachable by default, and slowly they begin to crave you. The dynamic shifts. No more pleading, no more idle hoping, no more handing out emotional intimacy to people who treated it like disposable drama. You've now mastered what Machiavelli called the supreme art of leadership, to be seen when necessary but gone before possession takes root. This stopped being about affection. It became about influence, the strength of self-control, the leverage of perceived rarity. Because once they sense you're no longer easily within reach, they begin to strive for the attention they once took for granted. And that effort, that struggle, that's what you used to give away for free. Now it's something they must earn. Let's talk about obsession. Obsession doesn't arise from comfort, it's born from absence. People don't become fixated on what feels secure. They become fixated on what made them question everything. And nothing unsettles someone more than being emotionally replaced without a single explanation. That's why detachment is powerful. It's not about ignoring them. It's about demonstrating that even if they cry, plead, or shout, you won't go back to what once diminished your self-worth. And this is what truly cuts deep. You don't leave in anger or chaos, you exit with calm, with indifference. You smile, you offer no closure. You make no dramatic gestures. You simply go silent. And suddenly they're obsessed because they expected conflict. They hoped for emotional theatrics. Instead, they got a void. And now that you've left in peace instead of rage, they no longer know their place. They can't define themselves without your reactions. That uncertainty, that collapse of their identity, that's where obsession begins to grow. Machiavelli grasped this perfectly. He once said, "A wise leader must appear compassionate, loyal, kind, and just, but be ready to act against those traits when the moment demands." You've been generous, patient, constant, but now you must shift into unpredictability, into distance. Not to hurt them, but to reclaim your worth. Because up until now, you were giving away your greatest currency, your emotional presence, to people who assumed it was owed, not earned. Here's what comes next. They'll reach out, some with jokes, some with guilt, some with sharp words meant to provoke. But their goal is the same: to find out if they still hold emotional sway over you. That's why silence is your strongest move. Because each time you engage, you fall back. Each reply whispers, "You still affect me." You're not here to make a point. You're not here to be missed. You're here to take back your power. Let them obsess. Let them spiral. Let them message into emptiness. Because now you're rare. And rarity creates legend. You're no longer the one who replied instantly. No longer the comfort they relied on to feed their ego. You've become the silhouette in the distance, untouchable, enigmatic, chosen. And the less they know of you, the more they'll dwell on you. Don't ruin it by broadcasting your withdrawal. No cryptic quotes, no passive-aggressive posts, no revenge games. Real strength is subtle. It operates silently. If they can tell you're trying to be powerful, you've already given the power away. True scarcity doesn't shout, "Watch me walk away." It vanishes quietly, completely, until the moment they realize you're not coming back. And by then, you've already stopped remembering what it felt like to miss them. To put it simply, if you want to be unforgettable, disappear without a sound. If you want to be treasured, raise your worth. If you want to be pursued, stop being expected. And if you want real power, live by Machiavelli's final truth: men forget the death of a father before the loss of an inheritance. Let your absence feel like something stolen. Let them feel like they lost what was never truly theirs. And most importantly, let them finally understand they no longer have a way back to you.